Mike Bowers. I'm the director of the Ohio Small Business Development Center at Columbus State Community College. I want to welcome you to our special Small Business Breakthroughs edition for Small Business Week for the Small Business Administration, the SBA. This is it's a big week for us because we are so closely aligned with the SBA. But anytime that you have an opportunity to celebrate small business owners and the accomplishments and the work that they're doing, we absolutely will take it. So we have a excellent show today. We're going to be talking to some other directors of the Small Business Development Center throughout Ohio. These individuals do excellent work. I'm super impressed with everything they do. And we also are excited to be joined by a representative from the Small Business Administration. So we're going to jump in there in a few minutes and get started with that. I do want to start, as we do every episode, talking with someone from the Dublin Entrepreneurial Center. The DEC is a partner of ours, and today Susie Gillian is here. And Susie, you want to give us a little update on the Dublin Entrepreneurial Center? I mean, it's been like, what, 4 days since we did one of these, but I don't know if anything
yeah, thank you, Mike.
But you want to give us an update?
I get the privilege of representing Chaz Fertel, the director of the Dublin Entrepreneurial Center, aka the DEC in Dublin. And yes, the DEC is more than office space. It is a collaborative small business environment. We have over 100 businesses currently as tenants and members at the DEC. I guess our biggest claim to fame is that we have graduated over 180 businesses in the last 15 years, and more than 90% of those are still in business. So that's the beauty of that collaboration, and the majority of our businesses do business with another business on site. There's collaborative events and events like this that Mike helps puts on and brings businesses together to learn and grow and do business with each other. So thank you for always hosting us and strengthening that partnership, Mike.
Great, thank you. Like I said, we've been involved with the DEC since inception. This is actually the second building of the DEC. The original DEC, we were the first organization to do a training event at that site. So this is a big, I think it's a big player in helping small business owners in Central Ohio. And the thing, like she mentioned, that I really like, I think it's, we've got office space, we can help people that way, but it's really this network. I mean, the entrepreneurs just bump into people walking down the hall. You can go and just stick your head in the door if you got questions, and it's a great network to support individuals. So with that, want to kind of move on and get going, because again, I'm really excited to have these individuals on with me today. This is something that I've wanted to do for a while, and when we started thinking about what we want to do with Small Business Week, I said this is perfect. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to have everybody kind of introduce themselves and talk a little bit about their center, and then we'll kind of jump in. If you are in the chat, or if you're in the audience, feel free to put questions you might have in the chat. If you want to introduce yourself in the chat, that would be great. If you need anything, Bruce Walters, who is a business advisor for our team, he is here to support you on that. So look forward to having some opportunity to interact with everyone. But we're going to start out with Jerome Jones. Jerome is a employee of our Small Business Development Center. Wait a minute, he was. Now he's with the SBA. So I've known Jerome, it'd be like 25 years probably, I would think.
Probably.
Something like that, yeah. And we did have the privilege of having Jerome on our team for a while, and we still have the great opportunity to work with him in strengthening small businesses. So Jerome, if you want to kind of introduce yourself and maybe a little bit about what you do, and talk a little bit about the importance of Small Business Week from the SBA's perspective.
Absolutely, absolutely. As Mike stated, I am a proud alumni of the Small Business Development Center at Columbus State Community College. And I'd like to think I personally keep them in business with the number of people that I refer over to the SBDC. I mean, they are our main resource partner. And I can't say enough good things about the SBDCs. All of the SBDCs, actually, they're an underutilized resource, I believe, and I always speak on their behalf. I am a lender relations specialist at the SBA. During normal times, all I do is go around and talk to banks about doing SBA loans. If they're not an SBA lender, I get them signed up to be an SBA lender. If they do a few, I try to get them to do many SBA loans. If they're already doing a lot, I just try to keep them happy. But because of my background, whenever there's an opportunity to speak on small businesses, particularly small business finance, my card gets pulled. So I'm here to talk about that. And thanks for having us. I do want to mention too that this is National Small Business Week for the SBA. We have a national virtual summit tomorrow and Wednesday. I can put the link to that in the chat. It's free. And it's a great event. There's going to be national speakers from all over the country.
Yeah, great. If you could put that link in there, that would be excellent. Yeah, that's a great opportunity to kind of get some education, get some knowledge, and kind of start to raise your education level as a small business owner. And one of the things I always like to say is that when people say, okay, well, think about starting a small business, or you're in small business, or you're a small business owner, and people would say, you know, well, that's a lot riskier than maybe going and getting a 9-to-5 or W-2 job. And, you know, obviously there's risk associated with it. But what I always say is that risk really comes from not knowing what you're doing. And, you know, the opportunity to jump on things like you're talking about and learn, come to these sessions, to interact with the Small Business Development Center and other SBA partners is really a thing that will raise your knowledge level and help you be successful as a small business owner. So we're going to go ahead and jump in. Like I said, we've got 3 directors of small business development centers in the state of Ohio. For those of you who don't know, the Small Business Development Center is a grant funded program. So there are somewhere 26, 27 SBDCs in the state of Ohio. And we cover Central Ohio, and we have 3 other individuals that cover different areas of the state. We'll let them talk about it. And then there's probably between 900 and 1,000 SBDCs around the country. So it is a huge network. And the thing that about the SBDCs is that we provide advising services to work with entrepreneurs, help them start, build, grow their business. But those services, those advising services are free of charge. They are free of charge to you, regardless of what SBDC you go to. Now, there's a variety of training programs that we do and these other individuals do and the SBDCs around the country do. Maybe a charge in those, may not be a charge in those, but it is certainly a great network and a great opportunity for you to really raise your skill level and avoid a lot of the mistakes that, you know, entrepreneurs tend to make because they don't know. So I want to jump in here and speak to some of these individuals. We're going to start with Lisa Hutson. Lisa is the director of the Ohio SBDC at Lorraine Community College. And I've always been super impressed with a lot of the entrepreneurial stuff that's going on at Lorraine. And then, you know, the SBDC there does amazing work. So, Lisa, you want to talk a little bit about your center, yourself, and what you guys got going on?
Yeah, great. Thank you. Yeah, I have to agree. I think Lorraine County Community College is a pretty amazing place to be. So for those of you that aren't familiar, we're in Northeast Ohio. We're the first county west of Cuyahoga County. And, you know, our center, we specialize a lot in, of course, we deal with the startups, but we really over 60% of our clients are existing customers, businesses. So we do a lot around human resources, accounting and record keeping, and marketing are probably our 3 big areas that the bulk of our one-on-one advising happens. We do have a specialist who specializes in food businesses. So he has probably been involved in launching most of the food products that have come out of Northeast Ohio. So for our clients to get his advising at no cost is pretty amazing. We run some specialty programs for people who have a food product that they're trying to get on store shelves. And yeah, so I think that's about it. Thank you.
Sure. Brad Bapst, who is the director of the Ohio SBDC at OSU South Centers, and this is in Piketon in Southern Ohio. Brad, you want to tell us a little bit about what you guys got going on?
Yeah, thanks, Mike. Like I said, we're located at the OSU South Centers in Piketon, Ohio. Our SBDC covers 10 different counties here in Southern Ohio. So we have a pretty large geographic footprint of coverage. And we're also a very rural SBDC region. Our largest city that we have in our SBDC coverage area is Chillicothe. So many of you might be familiar with Chillicothe. So their population in Chillicothe is about 20,000 individuals. So that just kind of lets you know that, hey, that's our biggest city. So we don't have a lot of industry, like manufacturing, things like that, but we do have a lot of small, individually owned entrepreneurial businesses that we work with. We work a lot with, access to capital, business plan preparation, and we do a lot of marketing activities with a lot of our small businesses. So we have a lot of home-based businesses, so a lot of those need assistance with, marketing. So we do a lot of work. We have a couple of counselors who are very good with social media, web design. So we provide a lot of services like that to our clients here. And a lot of our partnerships that we have that drives the connections that we have to the businesses, since we are very rural, very widespread, is we as an SBDC really focus on building relationships with our local chambers of commerce and economic development agencies in the region. And we essentially use those as a big referral network to our SBDC. So, the folks in those counties know their individuals. Those chambers are typically the point of contact. And then we as individuals with the SBDC, our advisors, we really model, kind of have a circuit rider model of serving those individuals. So, our SBDC has office hours at all of those different chambers of commerce in our region. So like a dedicated day a week that we will be in those counties. And that way, we can provide outreach to our clients that way. So it's kind of a broad.
Is the best way if individuals are going to reach out to those chambers is to go through the chamber? They want to
typically
reach guys in that area.
Yeah, they go to the chamber and we meet with them at the chamber offices.
Okay, great. Yeah. I think it's important to try to connect with the entrepreneurs as best possible, kind of where they're at.
Right. We try to do
that's
that.
Where
that's
they're
why we try to have office hours one day a week in each of those counties because, for example, we're in Piketon and geographically we're right in the center of our coverage area. But to get to Lawrence County or the South Point area, that's kind of an out, a far away. It's a little over an hour drive, even for us to go from Piketon to Lawrence County. And likewise, we cover Brown County and, to go to Georgetown, which is their county seat in that county, it's a little over an hour drive. So, by us reaching out to them, we make it a little bit more convenient. But we also do meet with folks here. And I should mention, we're located at the OSU South Centers, and we're located in the Endeavor Center, which the Endeavor Center is also a business incubator. So we do have office space for rent, much like they're at Dublin at the Entrepreneur Center. So.
Great. And last but certainly not least, superstar, I like to refer to him. That's how I refer to him normally, just when I'm talking. Mike Stater, who is the director of the Ohio SBDC at Warren County. I will say that, we all do a lot of work and we do amazing things. I've always been, again, super impressed with the work that that Mike does to
Thank you.
really build a really strong network in that area. And, it's easier said than done. So, Mike, you want to kind of share a little bit?
Thanks for those comments, Mike. First of all, I want to say this is Mike Stater from Lebanon, Ohio. First time caller, long time listener. I've always wanted to say that.
Yeah. All right.
But it is indeed an honor and a privilege to be on the panel with all of these directors and the SBA and the Dublin Entrepreneurial Center. And welcome to the guests that are dialed in today. So I appreciate the time you give us to talk a little bit about Warren County. Warren County is situated in Southwest Ohio. We're situated between Dayton, Ohio and Cincinnati, Ohio. So we're kind of a suburban county, if you will. We have some rural parts of the county. We have some developed parts of the county. The Convention and Visitors Bureau has actually come up with a theme for our area called Ohio's Favorite Playground. Just kind of a gimmicky but kind of catchy phrase to let you know what we do down here. We don't play, we do, but we certainly are serious about it. The reason we came up with that is because one of our biggest employers, at least seasonally, is Kings Island. And right now they're in a search for about close to 4,000 employees. So every year they seem to somehow come up with 4,000 folks. But once again, we're trying to battle the workforce shortage dilemma and keep Kings Island humming again for another year. Last year was actually the 50th anniversary of Kings Island. So that probably dates a lot of you guys. You probably were here during high school days, right? Yeah. But here in Warren County, our biggest employers, our biggest employer is the Amazon Fulfillment Center. About 3,600 people work at the Amazon Fulfillment Center in Monroe, which is just off I-75, kind of borders Butler County and Warren County. Our second biggest employer is Procter & Gamble. It's about 3,300 people. So everybody's heard of Amazon, everybody's heard of Procter & Gamble, but it's really the small business community. Jerome, I think you would agree with me and Mike as well, that it's the entrepreneurs that really keep this county together, that really provide all the back of the house services and really kind of keep everything cohesive to allow Procter and Amazon to operate. We have over about 250,000 people that live in Warren County, and 4,000 of that 4,000 are entrepreneurs. We try to help as many of those 4,000 folks as possible, and it always challenges me when someone comes into the center and says, "I didn't know you were out here," and you guys probably hear the same thing. "I didn't know you were here." And so every day that's a constant battle for us to get the word out, to create the awareness that the SBDC exists, to provide complimentary and confidential services, whether you are a startup or whether you are growing, whether you want to buy another business. That is kind of our mission, is to help businesses start, grow, and succeed. But the underlying part of that is to create awareness that that we exist. And so, kind of like Brad, we're very plugged into our public-private network here in Warren County. Our model is that we have 35 stakeholders that invest in our operation on an annual basis. Whether you're a city, a township, whether you're a bank or an accountant, everybody is all pulling together. We have kind of a motto here in Warren County, one voice. So when we do go on our fly-ins and drive-ins, we wear a little button that says "One Warren County, one voice." And so that's kind of our, we're very connected with the public private ecosystem. I think, Mike, that's one of the words that you used in our list here. So we have a very cohesive ecosystem in Warren County. Real quick, and I'll turn it back over to Mike, that I wanted to let you all know that we've definitely come out of the pandemic kicking and screaming. the national GDP increase from 2021 over 2020. The figure is about 5.9% in GDP from 2021 to 2020. However, in Warren County, that is well over 9%. So we've more than almost doubled what the national average is in terms of coming out of the pandemic and getting things back to normal, I guess you would say, is whatever that means. So we're definitely back on track here in Warren County and open for business.
Well, that sounds great. Yeah, the trying to make that shift out of kind of the COVID environment. It's been a challenge. We can all say, hey, COVID's done, but it did impact a lot of businesses. We just here in Central Ohio, we worked with the City of Columbus and Franklin County to manage a small business recovery grant program in 2022. And, you would think that by that point, these businesses are kind of up, they're kind of back and things of that nature. And, they were still, a lot of business. I mean, we were able to fund over 1,200 businesses with some small grants to kind of help them, take a step forward and to recover from, the impact of COVID. And, the thing that I always mention, I want to ask you guys a question about this, but, when we think about, okay, the impact of COVID, okay, it's impact on revenue or impact, on, expenses going up or different things of that nature. But when you guys mentioned it, I mean, it's this workforce issue is kind of a silent impact of COVID. I mean, these individuals, these businesses are unable to find people. And this is a lagging effect of COVID. So from the director's standpoint, and we'll kind of go back to Lisa and kind of run around the group again. I mean, what are you seeing in terms of workforce in Northeast Ohio? And is there anything specifically that you're doing or the college is doing? I'm sure the college is jumping on that too.
Yeah, so in addition to my role as the SBDC director, I also help manage a couple of the federal workforce grants we have. So I feel like workforce is as much a part of my life as entrepreneurship. But, this workforce shortage was coming whether we had COVID or not. COVID just really accelerated it. And that's a bunch of factors. So, you might have heard of the gray tsunami. So a lot of people are at that retirement age, and so they're retiring. This has really impacted manufacturing. So you look at, we have a lot of manufacturers in Northeast Ohio, and getting younger people to see manufacturing, particularly historically underserved populations, so women and people of color, are definitely not represented in manufacturing. And so trying to attract them. And I think, part of it is a lot of people still see manufacturing as that traditional assembly line, dirty environment. And it's not. It's very tech oriented. There's high earning potential. It's very little of it is unskilled labor anymore. There's a lot of technology and training and there's a lot of opportunities. So that's definitely one area we've seen, and a lot of families have decided that it's not worth having both parties working because childcare is really tough, and so, and not to stereotype, but in a lot of cases, it's the woman that ends up being the stay at home. So you have this huge outpouring of women that have opted out of traditional kind of corporate career paths. So it's just a lot. But I also see that when you're looking at attracting kind of non-traditional employees, it's because they don't see. So if you grow up in an environment, maybe raised in a generational poverty situation, a couple careers, teacher, nurse, hairdresser. And so it's exposing them to other opportunities that are out there and different career paths. And so LCC has really worked on creating those pathways. So someone doesn't necessarily need a 4-year degree to enter one of those high demand fields. Maybe they can do a short certificate and start doing an earn and learn model where they're working a few days a week and going to school and learning. And so they stack those credentials until eventually it may end up in a traditional 4-year degree, but maybe you just have a lot of different credentials and certifications that increase your skill set, make you more employable, able to earn higher wages. So but it's just it's kind of like, Mike, you said, like, you're always surprised how many people don't know about the SBDC. I'm always surprised people don't know about all the different opportunities that are out there. And I think as parents, we need to stop forcing our kids to look at a 4-year degree as the only option that's out there.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, at Columbus State, I mean, we have some similar types of things, and with the influx of, some of the higher end manufacturing, Intel's coming in, having a chip manufacturing plant will be up and running here in the next few years. Honda is expanding their battery capacity here in Central Ohio. The community college is a great resource to kind of help you kind of get those certificates, get those skill sets that'll get you in the door. Brad, so you are at OSU, but you're kind of tied in through extension, if I'm correct. So
Yes.
what are you guys seeing in terms of workforce in your area, and what are you guys up to with that?
Well, we're still obviously just like everybody else across the state, seeing shortages. I see work postings come in across my emails on a weekly basis from, the local economic development partners that are working with businesses that have jobs they're trying to post out and fill. And, the list just keeps growing and growing. And one of the things that we've been doing here with our SBDC is, we've been, looking at what Lisa mentioned, trying to push this back down. That sometimes kids, not everybody needs to go to college and get a 4-year degree. So, I serve on some local boards with career technology centers, local schools, and we've even been partnering with our manufacturing extension program that we have here to do a lot of outreach to the local high schools and to get some of those kids thinking about, some kind of a career, whether it's manufacturing, whether it's getting them certifications, so they can just, consider entering the workforce, right out of high school. We have a lot of opportunities here in Southern Ohio. We have a huge job market that doesn't require a college education here. We have, we have companies that are looking for skilled workers that can start off with a very, very generous wage. Just, if somebody's willing to work, we have a huge demand for that. One of the things that we did a couple of years ago was we partnered with the MEP program, and we were doing lean manufacturing training, essentially getting kids in high schools certified in lean, so they have that certification when they graduate from high school. And what kind of a potential employee is that to a manufacturing company or any kind of a company, just to be able to hire somebody and bring them in with that mindset of lean principles and how can I be a critical thinker and how can I solve problems. So we've been reaching out, trying to do some of those things to help develop a workforce out there for some of the businesses in this community that are looking for that skill set.
This sounds great. Mike, you had mentioned workforce before. I mean, what are you guys seeing? I mean, I'm assuming you're getting a drain from, the Cincinnati Metro and Dayton Metro. Are they pulling them out of there? Are you trying to do some unique things there?
That used to be the case. Now it's kind of flipped around a little bit.
Okay.
I mentioned in my opening remarks that our two biggest employers for Warren County were Amazon Fulfillment Services and Procter & Gamble. And well over 6,000 employees work at just those two companies. And because of that, we're really focused on supply chain and logistics positions, and even Kroger. Most of you guys have heard of Kroger. They have a brand new, well, about a year old now, really super cool home delivery system where when you call in or you do your order online, all the food and all the products are stored at this warehouse, and they have these robots that just go like, it's like a game. They're all over the place. And to see these robots kind of pick all the orders, well, you need somebody to fix the robots and to pack the trucks and to deliver the orders. That is something that we didn't even have 2 years ago. That didn't even exist 2 years ago. So now more people are coming here to Warren County versus going out to Hamilton and Montgomery County. More people are coming here because of the opportunities in medical, supply chain, logistics, and robotics. Our office here where I'm speaking from is actually, Brad, you mentioned you're working with career tech schools. We're actually in a career tech facility, and we're very plugged in with the needs that companies come here to ask the Career Center for. They want qualified workers, and so they'll come to the Career Center and try to pull kids out of the center as long as they're tested and they're they're qualified. And so they'll come out of here. And so we also are involved in that decision-making process. I spoke 3 weeks ago to a high school. And so Brad mentioned, you're going down to that level, that 11 and 12th grade level now, to expose them to what the opportunities are out there, and that a 4-year degree isn't necessarily the path for everyone. With all due respect to the Ohio State University, and so I think from our perspective as small business consultants, I think trying to also expose the opportunities in small businesses, because we hear it every day. Like you drive down the street, there's some restaurants that can't even open, or they have to close early, or they can only open half the building, or instead of your food coming out in 5 minutes, it might take 15 minutes for your order to get produced. So certainly small businesses are feeling the effect of workforce shortages too.
Absolutely. Jerome, let me ask you, okay, go ahead, Lisa. Sorry.
Oh, I was just going to add, I think part of our job, because we work with the smaller businesses, to help them be able to compete for talent against the Amazons and the Procter and Gamble's and the other big employers, is having them look creatively at the type of employees that they offer and the type of benefits, because it's not only about salary. It's a lot of other things that smaller businesses can do to attract. And so to help them understand some of those and create a culture of really valuing their employees can make a big difference for those smaller employers.
I was at a meeting last week with a large school district superintendent, and he put up a graphic that showed, remember when we were all 16, one of the first things we couldn't wait to do was get a driver's license, right? Now, probably 70-80% of us wanted to get that driver's license when you're 16. Now it's less than half the kids have a driver's license. I would say today that there are more kids that have smartphones than have driver's licenses.
Yeah, I'm sure.
And so those kids aren't going out to the businesses and to the jobs to work.
Yeah, Lisa, you brought up a great point. So you mentioned earlier this kind of shift in the workforce demographic, where a lot of individuals are, instead of, everybody working 40 hours a week someplace doing different things, you've got, maybe one partner who is maybe working at home. And I think that helps from a small business standpoint, that we can work with them, because there are things that they can do in a home-based business. So I think that's really key, and that's where I think an SBDC can really come in to support individuals and growing their business. So I do want to mention Jerome, from an SBA standpoint, so this is a Small Business Administration. It's interesting that I just had Everett Waddell, who's district director. He was actually here today, and we were talking. And I think it was maybe last week or the week before, the SBA, the local SBA, partnered with the Ohio Chamber and Intel to showcase opportunities with the new Intel operation moving into Northeast Central Ohio. And he said, you know, this is something they want to keep doing. They're going to potentially look at maybe doing some things with Honda, you know, give people an idea what they really should be expecting from the SBA. Obviously, the loan part is huge. The things that you do and working with these banks is huge. But, you know, the SBA really does, you know, help convene, bring folks together, do different things, showcase opportunities. And then obviously they fund organizations like the SBDC to be kind of boots on the ground.
So, you know, one of the things that we really like to do, to your point, is be that conduit for small businesses and some of the larger employers. We have an 8A program that is a contractor program. And if your small business becomes certified, and there's a process for that, because they want to make sure that your business has the capability to execute contracts. But you have to keep in mind that Honda is a great example. Intel, Wright Pat, they buy literally everything you can think of. You don't have to be a chip manufacturer, because that plant is going to need someone to clean it. And if you have a janitorial business, that's an opportunity for you. That plant is going to need napkins, paper towels. I mean, virtually anything you can think of. It's hard to imagine a business that doesn't have some type of opportunity with Honda, Intel, Wright Pat, the government in general. The US government is the largest purchaser of goods and services in the world. And many people don't realize that you have an opportunity, a great opportunity to grow your small business. I can speak from experience, having dealt with a company. They were 8A certified, but they really weren't using it. And when I met with them, they were doing about $800,000 in revenue. And the 8A program, if you're not familiar, it only lasts for 9 years and you graduate out. So he was about 4 or 5 years in. We hooked him up with a mentor. I did some financial projections for him. He graduated from that program doing over $12 million in revenue. So if you really are serious about it and you work it, it's a great opportunity. So the 8A program, the PTAX, which I think now go by Apex, I mean, that is a really great opportunity for your small business to flourish. And turn into something as large as you want it to be.
Yeah, that's correct. And you know, to your point, as you were mentioning that and talking to that, you know, I'm willing to bet that a lot of the individuals that, you know, joined us today and those that'll watch this on YouTube, they don't know what the 8A program is. They don't know, you know, they don't really understand the certification. They, you know, PTAC, Apex, MBAC, SBDC. I mean, it just becomes kind of a jarbled challenge. And then we get back to the point of, you know, trying to be creative in our marketing because people don't know that, you know, these resources are there. I mean, kind of to that point, I mean, my question originally was going to be, you know, for the other folks is to kind of talk a little bit about, you know, what your thoughts are, what maybe you guys are doing around contracting and certification and things. I know we work really close with the Minority Business Assistance Center, which is at the Columbus Urban League for Central Ohio around certification. But kind of what are you guys doing with that? But at the same time, you know, what are you doing to be creative in your marketing to kind of get the word out that, hey, here's some other stuff. I mean, you know, you're a small business owner, here's maybe some revenue opportunities, here's contract opportunities. What are you guys doing with that? And maybe Brad, you want to kind of start with that?
Yeah, one of the things that we're doing to kind of help promote and get the word out about what we have here at the South Centers. Obviously, the South Centers is centers, with just the Small Business Development Center being one of those centers. We have the manufacturing program. We have the Ohio Cooperative Development Center that helps co-ops form and do business and operate. So we have a lot of different things, along with the Endeavor Center, which is the business incubator. So lots of stuff going on. We don't do a whole lot of promotion, but one of the things that we're currently doing to kind of promote the services is partnering with, the Women's Business Center here in our region with this picture plan competition that we have. And that is a business plan competition that we're marketing out to, right now it covers 5 of our 10 counties this year. So we're having kind of a boot camp and a pitch competition in those counties. So we've been promoting that to try to, bring in some new clients to our SBDC. There's a $10,000 grand prize for the overall winner for this competition. So, that helps to get some people's attention, especially if they're thinking about starting their business. So it helps them, they go through the boot camp, they develop a business plan, they pitch this information, they meet and work with mentors, both business owner mentors and also a lender panel group of mentors. So, we'll have a grand competition at the end, and somebody will win some cash to start their business, which is hard to find. That's a true grant to start your business. So those are few and far between. So we're trying to offer that to round up some interest in the SBDC.
Yeah, and I think the cool thing with that is that, it's not just, again, here's a grant. It's that, you've put together the plan, you've thought through that, you understand your market, you've done the things that allow you to compete in these types of competitions, which is going to do nothing but help you with your business, regardless of whether you win or lose.
Yeah, absolutely. It's so critical. And, that's one of the things, all of us with the SBDC, we're not just here to blindly help you start your business. We want you to be comfortable in starting your business and, to help you through that process of fully understanding what you're getting into.
Absolutely. Mike, what are you guys doing down there to kind of be creative in the marketing space? And again, I don't know if you're doing, a lot, I don't know what you're doing on the contracting side, so I'd be interested in that. But, you mentioned this kind of network of the chambers and things like that, that's I think a huge piece, getting the word out, because people are touching these individuals. And if, they understand what you're doing, it makes it a lot easier.
We're not quite as, we don't have the structure and formality that Brad has put together. That's $10,000 is an impressive grant to offer. and we aren't quite there yet, Brad. But yeah, we're working with TechSolve, who is our manufacturing representative. We're working with the Southwest Ohio Export Assistance Center, which is it's a big deal to the state of Ohio and certainly to Southwest Ohio. Working with formerly PTAC, actually, we have a job opening at PTAC for Southwest Ohio if anybody's interested. But we have PTAC in Southwest Ohio and PTAC in Montgomery County. Apex now is the new brand name. So we, through that kind of second level network, we push that out into the chambers, into the public sector folks, the cities and townships, in case they hear of somebody that we don't, to let them know that those services are available. So it's kind of layered in. We don't really have a formal program like a business plan or pitch contest like Brad does. It's just more of a layered in type of a situation. That's the other one I wanted to mention was veterans assistance. And so with our proximity to Wright-Patterson Air Force Base, we get a fair amount of folks that live in Warren County but work up at the base. It's maybe a half an hour to 45 minutes drive up there, so it's very doable. And so we definitely get some some bleed into Warren County with veterans.
No, that's great. That's great. Lisa, what are you guys doing up in Lorraine to kind of promote what you're doing? And, you know, I think the other cool thing is that you have some partner opportunities with other SBDCs. I mean, I don't have that really, you know, closest would be to work with Brad because we touch Ross County down there. But what are you guys doing to kind of get the word out? Here's the SBDC. Here's what we do. You mentioned food. That's a huge deal, and for folks to get some expertise there.
Yeah, so one of the things that we just did, similar to Brad, we had a food product pitch 2 weeks ago, and we gave away over $18,000 in cash and prizes, and we partnered with several organizations to do that. And it was really, you know, because yes, it's great for the winners, but it's also great for those other businesses that went through it because they got a lot of one-on-one coaching and understanding, you know, their financials and all the things that made them be able to do the pitch. But I would say, what are we not doing to promote the center? I mean, in addition to our social media, I feel like I'm always out in the community. I always call it like the dog and pony show, like let's talk. But most of our clients find us, startups find us because I kind of feel like, you know, when you're thinking about starting a business, you go and you Google and, you know, you find us. But there's really that big chunk of business owners that they're wearing every hat and they're just putting out fires all day. They don't even know, they don't have to take time to even look for the help to help them control those fires. So how do we reach those business owners? And so I feel like we're lucky in Lorraine County. We have a very strong network. So I work a lot with our Chamber of Commerce, a lot with our Main Streets. We meet once a month with all the local economic development people from not only the county, but the different communities. You know, I feel like I'm always going to lunch with bankers just to, you know, tell them because, you know, and I have to say, COVID was good for the SBDCs because I think a lot of those attorneys and CPAs and bankers that we had met with started referring clients that they didn't know what to do with to us. And so, you know, we built stronger relationships, but it's kind of constantly staying in front of those resources to remind them we can help, we can help, we can help. You know, and those calls are kind of easy because we're not really selling anything, right? I mean, we give our services away, but it's just, you know, just like we tell our clients, you have to demonstrate your value to your target audience. I feel like just reminding our target audience of bankers and CPAs and economic development people of our value, not only to their clients, but to them. Like we can help them a lot. So, so I think it's that constant trying different things on social media, but getting out in front of people and talking every chance we get about what we do and what we offer. Because, you know, I think our name, Small Business Development Center, people always are surprised when it's like, oh, you don't just work with startups, or you know, you know. And so I think just helping people and get the misconceptions about the SBDC, you know, we have to overcome some of those misconceptions.
Yeah, absolutely. I know that obviously we have a huge influx of individuals wanting to start businesses here in Central Ohio, the point where we had to put in a process that they go through here, go through here, go through here, or we just would not be able to provide them any content. But it's that, you know, you mentioned when COVID, we got sent home on, I think March 16th, 2020 was the last day we were together as a team. And that's when the SBA was launching the EIDL program. So all of a sudden, I'm sure we all had the same thing. It was just like every existing business that was jumping on, hey, how do we do this? How do we do this? And luckily, we had Jerome that he could call. And if he didn't know the answer, he could find the answer.
All of them.
Yeah. Jerome, I'm going to shift a little bit. We're, you know, kind of ramping down here, but I do want to get into something pretty specific. I want to talk to everybody, you know, when we talk about funding a business, what are your thoughts? What are some of the important things that a small business owner, maybe it's somebody who's kind of been in business for a little bit, maybe still early, but you know, they've kind of got going, they've gone through that initial piece. I mean, what are your thoughts? What do you recommend them do to maybe prep themselves for funding and then pursue the funding?
So I've been a proponent of a small business or of a business plan forever. You really have to have your business plan going in, but even when you're in business, once you're in business for a while, I always think of a business plan as a living, breathing, growing document. It never really ends. Through my experience, even working at the SBDC in the entrepreneurial class, you know, some existing businesses, they've been around for 5 years, they think they've got it all figured out. And so I changed it. Instead of calling it a business plan, I said, you know what, you need a strategic plan. Same doggone thing, but it sounds a lot better when you say it like that. So, you know, you need to know where you're going to be in the next 6 to 12 months. And I try to emphasize that to small business owners. A bank is not where you want to go when you desperately need money. You want to be prepared. So the only way to know that is to plan ahead, to do 6, 12, 18, and 24-month projections. Because if you're doing well now, you look pretty good now, but you know, on my current either growth or stagnant growth plan, I'm going to need money in the future. If you go now when you're still looking pretty good, it's a lot easier to get it. So when you need it, you have it, particularly with a line of credit. You don't want to go when you're in desperation, because lenders can really sense that. They can read projections well, they can read financial statements well. So plan, always plan. And from the entrepreneurial class back at the SBDC, I know one of the goals was on that initial class, convince half the class that you don't want to do this, because it's really difficult. And you know, most of the class, when I would ask why you want to go into business, they're tired of their job, they want to get rich. And it's okay, well, if it were that easy, we'd all do it. You know, buy my book. You know, I'm already a millionaire a few times over. So just know, and to Brad's point, know what you're getting yourself into. Do not enter it blindly, because the streets are littered with someone who had a side hustle and they thought it was a business until they started doing it for a living and quickly realized, you know what, I really like this as a side hustle, and I like that check every 2 weeks and benefits. You know, so just education, to your point, Mike. Education, educate yourself.
Okay, one thing, Jerome, I didn't know if you wanted to say this or not. When we talk about food-based businesses, did you want to say it's not about the food?
Mike knows me so well. You know, foodies, they're the hardest to convince that it's a side hustle, because it's never about the food. I've never met a foodie yet whose food was horrible. It's the business side. And you've got a widget that has a very short shelf life. If you make pencils, they're going to last for, you know, virtually forever. You make lasagna, you know, it's in hours, you know. So, you know, I always talk to foodies about, do you really want to get into this? It's the business side of running a restaurant or even a catering business is the hardest side. You know, they're in it because their drug of choice is giving you whatever their main dish is, and you say, oh my God, this is the best fill in the blank I've ever had. That's all they want. Cost of goods sold go out the window. So.
That's right. That's right. So we're going to be wrapping up here. I want to go to our 3 SBDC directors, and I want to ask each of you to, number one, what's the best way for individuals that are in your area? So one, again, point out your geographic area. What's the best way for them to get to your SBDC and get services? And second, kind of what would one tip that you would give individuals that are maybe in business? What's one tip that you would tell them to go do, you know, in the next week or so that would help them with their business? And we'll start out with Mr. Stater.
Okay, then. The best way to get a hold of us is through our website, Warren County SBDC.org. It's Warren County spelled out SBDC.org. You'll find directions to our center there. You'll find contact information there. You can actually schedule an appointment with us there. So that's the best way to reach out to us. Our partners know that, and they also pass that information along to prospects out in the community. Kind of the best tip I would say is piggybacking on what everyone has said, allow yourself plenty of time. In the last 2 or 3 months, I've had people come through the center expecting that this deal is going to get done in the next 30 days. And did the deal get done? Yes, but it took about 3 months, not 1 month. And so allow yourself plenty of time and plenty of capital. Starting a business or growing a business is very complex. It's time intensive and capital intensive. People like the promise, but they don't like the process. And so just understand that the SBDC is there to stand next to you, to guide you through the minefield. We will, at least here in Warren County, we advocate. I know it's a confidential agreement that we all sign, but sometimes we have to advocate for our clients out in the community. That's just the way it is. We have to fight the battle with you. So know that we're there to help you out, whether you want to start or grow.
Great, thank you. Lisa, I see you put, looks like a email in the website or in the chat. So you want to talk a little bit of what's one point you might recommend for individuals, and if there's any other way to get a hold of you guys.
Yeah, so I put our email there. That's probably the quickest and easiest way to reach one of us. But my advice is, and maybe it's because I'm a recovering banker, is understand your financials. Whether you are just starting a business, to have those projections, because it's really fun to tell your story. Numbers are not always so fun, and it's usually the area most business owners struggle with. You don't have to be a CPA, but you have to know your numbers enough that you can make good decisions. So that could mean every day I talk to people that they have no idea what their cost of goods sold are. Well, how did you come up with your price? They just picked a price that, they had. So if that's not your area of expertise, come talk to the SBDC. We can really help you with that. Whether it's getting set up on some kind of accounting system, whether that's something as simple as an Excel spreadsheet or as robust as QuickBooks or something in between, and then understanding what those numbers really mean. And and that old adage, and I get so sick of people saying it, cash is king, but I talk to people that we would say are pretty successful business owners, and they'll be like, we did $5 million in sales last year. Well, that's great, but you're not going to have enough cash on hand to pay your payroll in a couple months. So there's more to it. And all I can say is we can help you, and you have to know some of it, because it's really scary to turn it over to somebody else and trust all them to make all those decisions for you.
Hey, Lisa, to your point, as a recovering banker myself, when I got a business plan, that's the first part I went to. I'm not going to read the marketing section if you can't make money and repay the loan.
That's right. That's right. Brad?
Exactly.
How can we get a hold of you guys, and what's a tip that you might have for us?
Well, probably the best way to get a hold of us is I just posted our website there, southcenters.osu.edu. You can get a hold of us there, or you can also look it up under Facebook. We have a pretty big social media presence there, the OSU Business Development Network. We also post a lot of our events and stuff on there. One tip, that I would say, a lot of business owners that I see make a mistake is just getting complacent in their marketing. Never take your foot off that marketing gas pedal. Keep it going. Worked with a lot of businesses that have gotten somewhat complacent, developed a really good relationship with just, a few customers, and it just eventually that one customer will control them. And then when that customer steps away, you've really taken a huge hit. So you always want to keep your feelers out there and keep pushing your business out and searching for new customers all the time and keeping that customer base diversified.
Great advice. I want to mention from our perspective, the SBDC here in Central Ohio. If you're looking to connect with us, you can go to our website at SBDC Columbus. Bruce, what is it? I'm lost here. SBDCColumbus.com. I don't know. I didn't remember that. And you can go to that site. And on here, I see that Risa Green, I don't know if she's related to Teresa Green, who is our administrative specialist. You can contact Teresa at sbdc@cscc.edu, and she's a great contact. She knows all about our program and will get you where you need to be within our program to really help you make a big difference. I want to thank Susie and Chaz at the Dublin Entrepreneurial Center. This is a great resource for entrepreneurs and small businesses here in Central Ohio. And thank you for your support of our program. I want to thank Jerome for coming in from the mothership at the SBA and giving us some great advice. The SBA they're not the ones you want to call to get the loan, but if you do have questions, they are a great resource here in Central Ohio. A number of them have actually worked with us at the SBDC and really understand how to deal with small businesses. So don't hesitate to reach out to them. You may get redirected back to us, which is great, but they are still an absolute great resource. And Lisa, Brad, and Mike, thank you guys for taking out time today. This has been great. Really appreciate you coming in and helping us celebrate and kick off Small Business Week from runs through the end of the week. Jerome mentioned there's a great resource later this week, I guess it's tomorrow, that you can jump onto. And we are also having another program, our Small Business Spotlight, of where we showcase a SBDC client that will be coming up on Thursday. Bruce, do you want to speak briefly about that?
Sure. Should always be ready to speak when you're involved with a Mike Bowers event. So yes, that's our small business spotlight series. We do this every month, and we take an hour out of the month to talk with a small business owner so we can help new business owners or prospective business owners get an idea of what's involved in actually starting and running your own business. So as everybody was mentioning earlier, it's not about just printing up business cards and suddenly you're wealthy. There is a whole lot of work that goes into that. So we want to help equip clients. And we're doing 2 installments this month. We're doing this week's special Small Business Week episode with Jeff White of Archaeology. Can You Dig It? So he's an educator here in Central Ohio, and he focuses on teaching high school and middle schoolers all about the joys of archaeology, particularly for underrepresented populations. And then we'll do a second one later this month with Esther Salata of Benesafe, who provides all natural pest control solutions for your yard. So fleas, ticks, mosquitoes. So we're looking forward to that one as well. So if you want information on any of those, feel free to reach out to me.
Great. Thanks a lot. So thanks for everybody who joined us live today. Thanks to everybody who's going to watch this on our YouTube channel. And again, thanks to our guest. This has been a great group to get together. Again, like I said, this is something I've wanted to do for a long time. And I'm really excited that you guys took time out of your busy schedules to jump on here with us. So again, thank you for jumping on here with us. But again, thanks for everything that you guys do for small business owners in your area. So with that, I want to thank you guys, and we will look forward to seeing you next time on Small Business Breakthroughs. Have a great day.